Hey friends, I want to thank you for tuning in and letting me be a small part of your journey with Jesus. And I hope it's a time to encourage you. We've been going through the Sermon of the Mount since December and into the new year, and I have this message and I think just one more, and we'll finish that up and move on to something else. But I love the profound things that Jesus says to these people who were surrounded by religion. He had just talked to them about the golden rule, and then he spoke to them about trees and fruit. And he warned them that there were false prophets who were out there. He uses the comparison of figs and thorn bushes. And, he says a good tree can only produce good fruit, and a bad tree only can produce bad fruit. And we will know them by their fruit. I'm afraid that we live in a time where many Christians, not wanting to judge another, have abandoned discernment. It is not judging to be discerning. We live in a day when there are many people out there who claim to be prophets. Many of them will speak with great confidence. We saw this just a year ago about who was going to be president and who was going to see everything overturned. And they spoke in the name of the Lord. But friends, we need to be discerning, because the true prophet of God is not right half of the time and wrong half the time. When they speak in the name of the Lord, it's always true. We need to look at the fruit that is manifest in their lives. Not just what they say, because they might say things that we want to hear, that we find appealing. But look at the fruit of their lives and ministry. Does it look like Jesus? So many of the so-called prophets of our day live a lifestyle and an attitude of arrogance that is so different than Jesus. They've used ministry to enrich themselves. Paul warns his preacher boys. He says, their God is their belly. They want to live in mansions and fly in private jets. I don't blame them, right? But listen, if it doesn't look like Jesus, sound like Jesus, act like Jesus, it's not Jesus, even if it's spoken in his name. And in verse 21 of Matthew 7, Jesus says to this crowd with quite boldness, he says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name?' And then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness.'" What a profound and in some ways startling, scary message that Jesus gives. But it's something that we need to hear. Because not every prophet we see on TV is truly a prophet of God. Even if we hear them speaking in tongues, even if we hear them giving bold, declarative statements, even if we see them casting out demons and doing mighty works, he says, "I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness." To be lawless is one who lives a self-willed, self-directed life. To proclaim, Lord, Lord, is more than just words. To confess him as Lord is to recognize him as the one who has absolute authority over our lives. To recognize that he and all by himself is the one who paid the price, that he conquered sin and death on my behalf. He went to the grave and left our sins behind. He rose from the dead, conquering sin and death. And when I entrust myself to him, I'm saying, I can't do it, but you are Lord. I am here, your servant and your son, to do your will. Not my will, your will. And part of the way that we know that we are truly the children of God is that we have a hunger, a desire to say, Lord, not my will, yours. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus modeled this in a perfect way. He knows what is before him, the great horror and suffering. And he says, Lord, is there any way that you might take this cup from me? And he says, not my will, yours. Not my will, yours. And he went to the cross. Friends, if you have no hunger, heart, desire to do his will, quit kidding yourself. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care that you say, Lord, Lord. To entrust yourself to him is to recognize that he alone has bought you with a price. He alone has the right to rule and reign. And my passion and your passion then is only, not my will, yours. Where do you want to go? What do you want to say? How do you want to give? Yes, Lord, I'm all in, whatever it costs. That is to live as one who is loved and to love, to know and to be known. Many people will go right to the end with a false sense of security, saying, Lord, Lord, I did all of these things in your name, and not be known, because they never really entrusted themselves to him. They never recognized his right to rule and reign. And I hope that that is your heart and your passion. Not my will, thine. Let it be. I love you, and I hope you have a great day and a great week. God bless.